So back then we were still using VHS.
Ah, yes.
And it was recorded. But you can imagine the video quality. Um, Completely unimpressive. And it was a blur in some moments. Anyway, we saw the video. And I was watching the video and I was saying, oh, this piece actually looks nice. Who danced in it? And they all pointed fingers to me. You were in it, you don't remember? I had become so disengaged at one point that I just went through the motion when we were on stage. Because I thought, oh, this is simple. I just walk here and wait. That music comes and I turn around and I walk some more. And I waited some more. So that's what I did, right?
Yeah.
And the piece turned out to be beautiful. And that became even more confusing. Because during rehearsal, I hated the entire process. I thought the whole thing was dumb, the dumbest thing ever. And yet it turned out to be so beautiful. I was like, what was this? You call it modern dance, contemporary dance. I want to know what it is. So that was my first exposure to contemporary dance.
Cool.
Second exposure, pretty much the same thing happened, except this time we didn't get to walk. We only crawled. The whole piece was a crawling study.
Cool.
So the same thing happened. I was totally unhappy about it because I thought, wow, can you get any worse with this modern dance thing?
Just crawling again, come on.
First it was just walking and then it was just crawling. And then we watched the video again and I actually cried at one moment because that piece was so beautiful in video. And once again I couldn't remember being in the piece because I was very disengaged. So 2 times together, it really, really made me very curious. And then the year after that, I had the opportunity to go to the States to study as an exchange student. And the little that I knew about modern dance, I knew that it came from America. So I thought, okay, so David, you were given this opportunity. Maybe go learn something about it. And I looked it up on the internet. It turned out that the University of Utah was on the list as one of the exchange sites.
Utah.
University of Utah.
In Salt Lake City?
In Salt Lake City.
Beautiful.
And I learned from the information that I got that University of Utah Modern Dance Department at that point in time was ranked 5th among all the modern dance departments in universities in the States. So I thought, wow,
That's amazing.
this has to be a good opportunity. So
Yeah.
I took it. So I picked University of Utah and I got it. And I was there. And I did training for 3 quarters. It was a lot of work. It was painful. It was challenging. I cried a lot.
Will you describe your curriculum? Was it, I mean, how many hours of instruction, how many in dance, and how many other subjects?
I chose to do dance completely.
Wow.
I was crazy in that year.
Wow.
So I was really rebellious.
I like it.
I was really, really rebellious because that would mean that when I go back, I would basically have to do 1 more year.
Right.
Because none of the credits would have been transferred.
No. I respect your tenacity in that, though. I'm here to study dance. Let's do it.
Yeah. That I got from my father, for sure. My father has that. Even till now, he has that.
We would call that in the embryology course sperm energy.
Oh yeah.
Go for
Yes,
it. Go
yes,
for
yes.
it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it.
Yes. So I definitely have that. And it was a lot of struggle it was a lot of trouble. Um, we had we had 3 Asians in our class. It was me and 2 other Japanese girls, one of which was a beautiful dancer even back then. The other Japanese girl, she was really good with socializing despite her English. I had my English, but my socializing skills were not very desirable. And to be honest, I was not there to socialize. I was there to learn. Turned out that was not a very good strategy because I became very quickly the odd Asian guy in class. First of all, I couldn't do any of the exercises right. I always got them wrong because it was basically my first year in professional dance training.
Of course.
And to enter into any dance program in university, that pretty much means that you would have been dancing
for several years at least.
Several years at least.
You'd have the basics.
Right.
Yeah. And you felt that you did not.
Which I did not have. They almost kicked me out after the first quarter.
Cool.
I begged my way back in. I was crying, actually.
I have a suggestion or a proposal.
Go ahead.
Oftentimes when I'm recording these podcasts, I do body work on the person while we continue chatting.
Oh.
Would you like, while you're standing, just some work on the shoulders and...
I prefer this.
Just this talking?
Just this.
Okay. Thank you for being clear about your preferences. Oh, hi, Kat.
Hello,
Hey.
We're recording an episode of the Change Your Beliefs podcast right now, where I've learned a lot about David's story, how he discovered dance, which I think is really fascinating. And I'm glad.
Listen you laying in a hammock.
Yeah. You're welcome to participate too if you'd like.
Thank you for joining us.
I'd like to.
So that was that. There was a lot of struggle and a lot of soul searching, as they would say, because I had to keep checking in with myself. David, is this what you want? Because professionally, you're not up for any of this, and you probably won't be able to do anything that has anything to do with what you are learning now when you go back to where you come from, which was Hong Kong. So I asked myself many times, and every time the answer was yes, I still want to do this. So the tenacity, and I did, and stuck through it.
Did you ever think that you would try to stay in the United States while you were there?
It's very interesting because I met a very good friend, and he introduced me to his family, and they're all very kind to me, and they live down in St. George, which was in the south of the state of Utah. And during spring break that year, we went down to St. George to visit the family, and they took me in like I was a member of their family. I spent half a month there, after which they actually proposed to me, David, maybe you should stay. We can find your girl and get you married, and you can stay behind. Well, the first reaction was I thanked them. It really touched me, this proposal. But somehow the gut feeling came, and then the answer was no, I feel like going back to see my family. I really miss them. So that's what I did. And it's very interesting because I remember getting off the plane when I landed Hong Kong and thinking, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this. I should have stayed in the States. Now fast forward 23 years. Within these 23 years, I had never been back into the States. It's very interesting. Because of my dance career, I had the opportunity to travel to many places, but never once did I travel to the States. And during these 23 years, somehow, as I learned more and more about the States, the kind of dream that I had about being in the States changed. And the more places I go to, the more I realize no matter where I go, I meet people, we do things together. It doesn't really matter so much, even for me back then. Where I was, it mattered more whom I was with and what we were doing together. So I learned that over time. And this is something that I learned from traveling, which is very interesting. At one point in my life, I had thought that, oh, home, it has to be a certain place. It has to have certain qualities, certain cultural qualities, and I need to have access to certain amenities, perhaps. The more I travel, the more I find out that it's not like that, at least not for me, as I mature more and more. Traveling now, it's like an ongoing learning opportunity. Especially as I travel to new places, like I'm first time here in Kochang. And I just allow my senses to open up and my heart to open up and my body to open up and really meet the environment, meet the people, meet the food. Now, that's a big thing for me. I learn and I grow and I keep learning and I keep growing and I enjoy that. For me, it feels like that process can continue, and as the process continues like that, that number that we call age, it doesn't matter so much anymore. Which is quite fascinating.
I find age to be interesting and relevant insofar as it helps me to understand potentially what has happened in that person's life up to that point, or at least what quantity of events might have passed.
Right.
If, for example, I meet a person and I can tell from our first conversation that they are also Jewish, also raised in the United States, also very similar language patterns, cultural background, and I can ascertain that they have a university degree, then to say, how old are you? Or when did you graduate university?
Right.
Gives a lot of information. Maybe they graduated last year and they still don't have a job and they're in that year of exploration.
Right.
Or maybe it was 10 years ago and they are 10 years into some career and considering a new direction.
Right.
But a different person who's also 23 years old is not just finishing university in America. That person is potentially raising 2 children in, a tiny house with maybe no father around. There's just so many things that could happen to a person.
Yeah, for sure.
In 23 years of life.
Oh, yes.
I really enjoy having things around to climb on. It satisfies me a lot to just be able to exercise like this. And yeah, we're monkeys. We're supposed to climb.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
And this hammock here is quite nice too.
Well, thank you for all of this.
David, thank you. And you're welcome. I mean, I
Yeah.
I find these conversations to be fascinating.
They are.
And for me, and I think also for many other people who eventually listen to this, it's inspiring to learn not from your perspective, but imagining the perspective of your friend.
Exactly.
It takes just one person.
Yeah.
Just one person. Hey, come with me to this thing. No, I don't want to. Oh, come on, no, come. Maybe you'll like it. Give it one try. And for me, my philosophy is to give everything one try. Maybe not when I'm full to capacity. Maybe not if I'm feeling like in this moment I have other priorities to focus on.
Right.
But if it's a choice in between some unhealthy behavior pattern, for me in my life, it's been staying home by myself, watching television, watching YouTube, playing video games, smoking weed, masturbating, like all of these like classic teenage boy things where we isolate ourselves and feel ashamed about our behaviors.
Right.
And if I ever find myself in this type of behavior pattern, and somebody says, hey, let's try this, I think that like we need to say yes. Otherwise we get stuck.
Yeah. Peer influence and community influence is crucial.
Well, that's why it's so dangerous today, where it's so easy for a person to be totally isolated, especially now during this COVID panic. A lot of people who potentially in their lives would go once a week to a support group of some sort. Maybe it was just like a meetup group talking about some subject, or maybe it was a weekly poker game, or maybe it was watching the game with your friends, or maybe it was a book club. And suddenly these things are not happening.
No, they're not.
And so everybody's at home by themselves. And I think that in the fear-based mindset that is popular because of our media, nobody wants to be burdensome to their friends during this time. I don't want to be the one who's calling my friends saying, oh, I'm freaking out right now, I really need support. Maybe you're freaking out and you need support, and I don't want to be the helpless one. And so it creates this environment where it's not safe and it's not condoned and it's not supported.
Right.
To say to your friends, I really...
Being vulnerable,
Yes, yes.
We all have that.
All right. And most people also have never been told, this concept has never been explained to them. If your friend is in crisis, something that you can do for them is to just listen to them. And that's enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to solve the problem for them. That's not why they're talking to you. You don't need to exhaust your own personal resources on finding a solution for them. Again, that's not why they're talking to you. They just need to be heard.
Right.
They need to be expressed and heard. And if more people knew that, I feel like they would do it. But I definitely know that with certain people in my life, if they try to get my attention, it's because they need something from me. And I used to always say yes. Recently I'm saying no more. And when I say no, there's two types of people. There are those who say, thank you for being so clear about your boundaries. Maybe I'll ask you something else later. Have a good day. And they're the ones who go, oh, come on, please, really, will you? I mean, because like I just need this one little thing, and like if you could just do it, then it would be like, and be like, no, really, I'm not going to do it. And then they keep trying.
Right.
And that's the type of relationship where I almost feel the need to separate. Like, if this is how we're going to be with this needy energy, and I don't feel like I can have clear boundaries with you, I don't know how we can move forward in a relationship of any
nowhere.
kind. And this type of behavior is really common. It's coached. It's modeled on television. So I do think that educating children is one of the most important things that we do. And not, I don't mean book learning education, I mean educating them how to be human, how to walk, how to move, how to meditate, how to be present with each other, how to heal themselves.
Same time educating the parents.
Yes, of course. And oftentimes, educating the children is the way to educate the parents.
Sometimes, yes. Yes.
Because they're willing to come back into some sort of formal structure. Whereas trying to get an adult who has no children to come to a class where we're going to teach you how to change fundamental aspects of your life, most adults are not going to subscribe to that unless they have a compelling reason to do so. But being there in support of their children is a compelling reason, and being able to communicate with their children is a compelling reason.
Unfortunately for these other adults with no children, sometimes what it takes for them to get involved in these new courses in life is a crisis.
Yes.
You know, it's unfortunate. Sometimes we learn too late.
Yeah, which is why crises are not always bad.
No, they're not.
In fact, this coronavirus crisis.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think this one will have, in the long term, more benefit than cost, is my hope.
Possibly.
Yeah, and the thing is, at this point in time, it's totally unclear whether that will be the case. Mm-hmm. However, I get to choose how I exist in the present moment.
For sure.
The way I exist in the present moment is with an optimistic outlook towards the future, imagining that we're going to continue here to practice our social distancing in general, distancing Ko Chang from the rest of the world, and other people who are in major cities will practice social distancing where they distance themselves individually from other people. And within 2 to 3 weeks, there will be a vaccine. There will be a cure. They've already found that some anti-malarial drugs are effective in curing the virus. So it will decrease. And when I speak this aloud and I feel into it, I'm able to breathe and soften. And it's not necessarily going to happen that way, but I get to spend the next 3 weeks very pleasantly.
At the same time, we do our parts, you know.
Yeah.
We do our parts the best we can, you know, from all the information that we can gather.
Yeah.
What to do.
Yeah. I mean, my strategy at this point is that there's a very small group of people here that I feel very close to. Probably about 10 to 15 of the people who are remaining I interact with on a regular basis. We're going to continue to exchange information and dance and movement, and I don't think that there's going to be a lot of social distancing amongst this core little group, but there's very limited interaction with people that are coming from outside of this group. So I certainly accept the risk that I might catch it from somebody in my group who catches it from somebody else. And for me personally, the possible eventuality of catching the coronavirus does not concern or scare me at all, because I am young, healthy, fit, and I'll probably have a fever for a day, and my body will puke a lot of stuff out and it'll clean me. And then I'll stay here until I'm well, so I don't transmit it to anyone else, and then I'll go on with my life. It scares me not at all, like zero, because I've had many flus before. My body knows how to handle a flu. Now I understand that other people are not as confident, and that brings us a certain amount of anxiety. Anyone with an immune system that's compromised in any way, or a person who's had really serious illnesses before that they didn't recover from quickly, I could imagine a ton of anxiety.
One way or another, anxiety is not the way to go because it doesn't help anything.
No, it's counterproductive. Absolutely counterproductive.
I mean, take action, you know.
Ooh. I just want to point out, I've found this position here. This is a new one for me.
Good for you.
Where my knee is compressing between the gastrocnemius heads. It feels amazing, and it's also stretching my Achilles and soleus.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, like, look, we have a playground all around us.
We do.
Have you ever been on an island like this one before?
Similar, yes. Actually, also on Thailand.
Yeah.
That was many years ago. Which one was it? Was it PP? I don't remember. My girlfriend.
It could have been Co-PP if it was like 10, 15 years ago, but Co-PP has developed a lot in the past 10 years.
Yes.
Much more tourism.
Yeah. I think it was.
I'm really enjoying how the functional movement patterns from water dance and rock climbing fit together. This concept of like reaching and spiraling and then pulling into the body, but pulling from the center.
Yes.
So instead of bending the arms, trying to pull my whole body with the arms straight. It works in the water too.
I wonder what time Is it? It is. Okay.
5:20.
Thank you.
It's
I thought you were taking a nap.
5:20.
I thought you were taking a nap.
You're not sleeping.
Did you go and get your food or something?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. You fast. I think I'm ready to go get something to eat before the what's that called? The metta.
Yeah, what's on the calendar tonight? I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, at 7 there's a meditation.
Loving kindness meditation.
It's a metta.
Yeah.
Yeah, metta meditation.
At 7 o'clock?
I
Is there
think
anything
so.
else tonight?
I don't think so. People would have just.
Yeah. I hope
Come
that
back
after this
and-
meditation, maybe we can have a jam, because it's been 4 or 5 days at least since we jammed, right?
Let's see how people feel about that after a whole day hike.
Oh, that's right. But is it so many that went on the hike? Maybe half?
Maybe 2/3, I would say. I don't know.
Oh, you think so? I'm really, really grateful for my 12 hours of sleep. It's what I needed.
Oh, you slept 12 hours.
I slept.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up to go on the hike. I woke at 6. I felt into my body. I thought about the schedule. Tomorrow I'm starting at 8:30
Right.
again to teach.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Okay,
this
good
is
for
my
you.
one chance to give my body what I know it needs, because I've been falling asleep random places, and usually this doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say you looked a little bit strange.
I was, yeah,
One,
and
2 days
especially
ago.
because I'm fasting now too. I know that I need
it's
sleep and
taxing
water.
on the body.
Yeah.
Take it easy, man. Take it easy.
Well, that's the thing, is I'm not going to be taking it easy. I'm going to be actually, the concept of taking it easy, I don't even know that I know what you mean by it, because I have my own thoughts around what it means to take it easy. In my culture,
I think I can see where you're going.
in my culture, when someone says take it easy, it means, yeah, do whatever you want, chill out, don't be productive. Take it easy would be like watching Netflix and eating ice cream. That's taking it easy. But I understand what
was
you mean
not
by it is
referring
different.
to that.
Yeah, I understand you mean it differently. Taking it easy, being more aware of what my body needs, and choosing to prioritize health. Yeah. Instead of overworking or pushing too hard.
Right.
Like today, going on the hike would have been nice, but it would have been exhausting. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful. I had this nice quiet morning with
I would
slacklining
say
and ping
just,
pong.
notice how the energetics of the body replenishes itself. There's a cycle in there somewhere, and if we push it too much, it goes out of whack, and it takes more time to recover than we would like it to, and then sometimes we become a little bit dysfunctional for one day or two. And I don't know. Sometimes it could be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, it works one way or another. Anyway, it's been good. See you later in the meditation, maybe.
I plan to go. I'm curious, approximately how much do you weigh? How many kilos? If you know.
60, sometimes 50, 58, 60.
Okay.
But
Funny, 'cause when I look at you, I think we're the same size. When I hug you, I realize that I'm bigger.
Yeah.
20 kilos more.
20, right?
Yeah, I'm about 80, although after this week of fruit, probably 76, 77. But yeah, no, but I see
Yeah,
I see your presence is very large.
I sense it when I dance, You're
My mass.
Yeah,
Yes, I am massive.
Much bigger. Yeah.
I am massive, yeah.
Your bones
Dense.
are strong. You're dense, right?
And I think
And yet you float,
Thank you.
right? You float.
I mean,
You float.
Oh, in the water, you
In the
mean?
water.
Yes, I am buoyant.
Right. I am dense and I don't really float.
You float less than I do. Yeah. Your body fat percentage is lower than mine.
Probably.
I mean, let me
check.
come on.
Right. I haven't. Right.
You can You can see from this angle,
Yeah.
I can get like a good pinch here.
Yeah.
With yours, although actually if I pull my belly in tight like yours is there, then there's less.
Yeah.
But still.
So, similar.
I would guess I'm 13 and you're like 11%. It's a ball.
I haven't checked.
I only know this because I measured myself consistently over time and like compared, because they can test with calipers too.
Yeah.
So I have like a ballpark with my finger calipers.
Yeah, we used to have that. Oh, you reminded me of my professional dancing days. They do that all the time. It's annoying at one point.
Yeah, I'm sure. Having somebody constantly telling you that you're too fat sounds terrible.
It's not like that.
That was my relationship with my mother for a long time. All of us were overweight. All 3 children, both parents a little bit, but the kids were bigger. And my mom would, are you really sure you need to eat more of that? Are you sure? Are you sure you want seconds? I feel like you really had enough. Maybe you should slow down. Maybe wait and see if you're hungry.
Right.
And she was constantly, like, in a very loving but like overbearing way, telling me, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat. I'll love you more if you're not this fat. Please listen to me, you're fat. And there was a moment, a turning point, on a vacation when I think I was 20, I was at university, my sisters were 24 and 26, graduated from university, adults living their own life, and the 5 of us are together in Mexico having a family vacation. And at one meal, my mother was practicing her, are you sure you want to order that? Maybe it'd be healthier to get this. And one of my sisters like put the menu down and was like, listen.
Did that even work back then with adults? Probably not very well.
At that age, my mother had like, she reacted poorly. Like my sister laid the law down and was like, I can't have this anymore. Like if you can't stop doing this, then like I'm leaving. And my mom wouldn't stop it. So she left and then my mother left and we had this like, there was a disagreement. And I remember a moment, the 3 kids in the room together, my father and mother are in a separate room. My father calls us and is like, look, your mother's really upset. You need to come apologize. And we were like, no, we are protecting ourselves. And she needs to understand that this is not a lack of love situation, but that she's making us to feel that we're not enough, that we're not okay. And like, if we need to feel like this all the time around her, we don't want to be around her. And she softened and like we had a reconciliation.
Right.
And there was a change in behavior at that time. Ever since then, it's been different. But it really took this like hard conflict with a lot of emotional expression.
Usually that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And some people loop back.
Yeah.
Thinking about some real big deals. I would say even, I mean, more so in Asian culture. Like we're supposed to behave in front of elders. You know?
Yeah, of course.
There's that. It's like a baggage. And it's not nice. It's not nice.
It's really not. Ooh, I found it on the other side.
It's not nice for all parties.
Yeah, it's really
even
unpleasant
not nice
for everybody. Yeah.
It's even not nice for those who think they're in a position of power, because that's really not power.
Right.
It's kind of some kind of a strangling thing.
Well, and in this case, part of the conflict comes from a misunderstanding of who has power and who does not have power. Because 10 years prior, this woman literally controlled what I was allowed to eat. But now I'm an adult, and she's now lost that control, and she has only influence, and to have then the influence even taken away, I can't imagine what that feels like, to be given like total control over a human's life and then have that taken away. Of course. And probably a lack of love, a lack of respect. This is how she shows love, is by asking us or encouraging us to be healthier.
And this is making me think about my mom. I mean, I have to say I'm very proud of my mom for the past 10, 15 years. She's really gone through a learning curve. Starting her mid-50s. About basically how to be a parent. Like once again. Because we're like, okay, look, your daughter, my sister, she has a family. And her daughter was already, what, 8 years old? So we get to make our own decisions. And that's how things go. That's how things will go. We can discuss about things, but give us space.
Yeah.
It was not easy for my mom. It was not easy for my father. But the mother somehow took it better over time. The father is still lost in some ancestral baggage somewhere back there. Father is stuck there still, even now. I don't know why. I try to help, but it's not like I can do anything more than what I'm doing.
And I'm guessing he's not likely to come along on some plant medicine journey or do some sort of big transformational experience. No. Not at that age and not in that mindset.
No. So
yeah, all you can do is accept what is and continue.
Yeah. This is another chance for me to learn about the word mellow. Mellow.
Yeah. The other day,
a lot of yielding to be done.
The other day, Julia came to me, and she didn't use the word mellow, but basically she was asking me to mellow out a bit in the meetings.
Which Julia?
Brazilian Julia.
Okay.
She said, David, talking a lot in the meetings.
You're about the same age, no?
She's 38, I'm 33.
Okay, cool.
She said, if it's like this every time, people are going to get sick of you. And I'm like, so far though, are you sick of me yet? And she was like, no, but if another meeting goes like the last one, I think people will start to get sick of you.
I have to bring this up as well, now that you mentioned it.
I'd like to hear it.
I concur with her on this.
I think many people concur.
Yes.
And so do I. That last meeting...
I have to say this, and I gave you this right away. I thanked you for what you did, and I really meant it. Because I also do these things, and I know how it feels to be out there and, just trying to gather people's energy together to be able to assist and facilitate, and it's really not an easy job. At the same time, knowing how to create space so that more people can feel open about just speaking up, because when you held the meeting, you had a very strong energy.
I always have a very strong energy.
And I used to be like that more so. Yeah.
And that,
back when I was your age. And that was a learning curve for me, really. So I'm offering this to you now. And,
okay.
I feel you. It's good intention. Create space for yourself. Create space for others. It will benefit all parties. I can assure you that. I'm not going to say take it easy anymore, because I think you might take it in some other direction.
Sure.
But I do mean that.
Chill out.
Just imagine you're a guitar, and sometimes,
So here's my question.
Loosen the strings a little bit.
Here's my thought, my question. I could go to one of these meetings and not speak a word as an experiment to see what happens.
You can do that.
I could.
It doesn't have to be that extreme.
I agree.
Somewhere in the middle.
But
always.
The question I have is, if I don't take some action to create some structure, will the meeting have any structure? Or will it just be a sharing circle where some people are taking more time and other people are getting bored and conversations are starting in different places and the meeting dissolves into a bit of chaos? This is what happens naturally in organizations when there's not clear leadership. So having one person there to say, this is the talking pillow, let's at least respect the talking pillow. Somebody should do this, in my opinion.
I
Doesn't
had
have to
no
be me.
problem. I had no problem about talking pillow.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Cool.
But did you remember that at one point you went on and on and on and on about stuff, and you broke your own rule about 1 minute?
I did. And I tried to bring it back also.
Right.
I like realized I was doing it, and I said, let's go back. But that is why the person who is apparently in charge of the meeting shouldn't also be the person who's moderating it. Those are different roles.
I hear you.
I would rather
Ideally,
be moderator, and I would rather not be team leader. I feel there are other people who have a better feel for the whole community, like Mario. I think would be a better de facto leader, and it's kind of what's been happening already anyway. What I can bring is structure. Also translation. These meetings need a certain amount of translation because those who speak Russian and poor English in a Russian way, and those who speak Chinese and poor English in a Chinese way, don't communicate with each other super well. And then there's also those who are speaking German and English in a German way, and so everyone's speaking a slightly different variation of English, and I understand all of them. And most people, when I speak clear, slow, international English, I can be understood by everyone also. So when there's a question that's unclear, even unclear to me, I know that it's unclear to others. And so I can say, do you mean this or do you mean this? And then they can clarify, and then we can move on. This role specifically, I think, is really, really important, and I would like to do it, but I'd like to do it in a way where everybody's enrolled in the idea that I do it, and they don't feel like, oh, Davi's talking again. I wish he would just shut up. Because I want to contribute, and that's it. The way in which I contribute is hugely diverse. I could do so many different things.
I totally get you, and because I've also done this in the past, and I agree with you that this, in, should I say, an ideal way of how a meeting should be held, this would be perfect.
Yeah.
I would also say this, and this is clear to everyone. We're going through some kind of an experiment.
Yes.
A community experiment, experimental community, in which I therefore am willing to let go of some of my past experiences about meetings like these. Let's call them meetings like these.
Sure.
So I am, and you notice I wasn't speaking much.
I did notice that, yeah.
Simply because I was absorbing, learning. So what's happening? What's going on? You know?
Yeah.
How are people interacting? I chose to be mainly silent, to observe. And sometimes it's not easy to do. Sometimes especially when we've been through these things or things like these, meetings like these, and right away we see, oh, there's this other way that I know it will work because I've done this many times now. Just do it like this, trust me. But then again, I think back to this whole idea of this being an experiment. So I'm like, new ball game here.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been to a meeting like these before. I've been to a lot of meetings, but you say meetings like these. I don't think I've been to a meeting like these. It's a totally new thing. New game, new ballpark. Yeah.
So
I
we
feel
had
you.
it. I think there we concur.
So what would
New ball
would
game.
be your specific advice to me? Because there's going to be another meeting tomorrow, ostensibly, or is it tonight?
Is it tonight?
Was there a meeting yesterday? No. There was a women's circle yesterday.
It's a women's
So
circle
if we
yesterday.
continue the every other day thing, it would be tonight. But I don't expect that many people will show up tonight because it hasn't been discussed or talked about or
No. We have that meditation thing.
at 7. So potentially after the meditation, there's a brief discussion as a community.
Possibly.
Yeah. I think that would be a very healthy thing to happen. But what would be your, if you could make your advice as clear, proactive as possible, do this and don't do this, I'm curious what you think.
Keep your intention and do 50% of what you're doing.
50%. Cool. That's very clear. Thank you.
Because the intention is good.
Yeah.
That we know.
All my
well,
intentions are
you
good.
know better.
Yeah.
Than me.
Yes.
Because I'm the outsider.
Yes, but I can tell you that in my ethos and my moral code, I only do things which I think are good, because when I identify things as bad, that's literally like the word bad, like that means don't. So I won't. Or if I do, I'll have feelings, a lot of feelings around having done the thing, which still happens from time to time. Nobody's 100%.
No.
Those feelings that result are very valuable feelings.
And these
Very
labels,
unpleasant. Good and bad, yes.
These labels sometimes are. We're playing with ourselves with these labels, aren't we?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I would say maybe instead of labeling good and bad, I would say that my intentions in this community are pro-social. That I would like for every member of the community to be healthier and happier.
And I would be, especially at these times, I would be very cautious about that.
What do you mean?
Because, well, socialization at this point could mean something quite different for different people.
Absolutely. So understanding what different people desire and what their comfort level and safety level is super important.
Don't even think I will be able to understand, some of them.
Sure. No, you can't understand everyone.
No, but just like in a dance, right? So where's the boundary?
Yeah.
If the boundaries are blurred, can I still dance? I probably can up until one point where I feel like I don't have my facilities anymore. Then maybe I'll stop and be silent and just watch for a moment, see what's happened, see what's happening, see where things are going. And we start again from there. No, maybe. It's always a maybe. That's the thing. It's always a maybe. It's never really a Would have been easy if it was always like that.
Yeah.
It's like slacklining, right? It's like, oh, it's there, but it's like, oh, it's also there.
Constant awareness, constant course adjustment.
Because it keeps changing, right?
Yeah. I'm very curious what's going to happen. I've kind of made the decision that I only have control over my own individual actions.
Of course.
So I've chosen, I will offer these things at this time, and I will make myself available to people who want to have one-on-one healing sessions. And
that some people won't take it.
Exactly. I'm going to be the egg, and I'm just going to be full and still and know that what I've decided to do, this is enough. And other people will come and fertilize me if they want to.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know, for the past 15 years.
Cool.
I mean, they come. They don't come.
I've been more sperm energy for the past 13 years. And now I'm thinking a bit more egg is called for.
Yeah.
So thank you for your feedback.
Sweet memories on embryology. I have many sweet memories. I was learning about this with many of my wonderful friends from Taiwan, and I have very fond memories. Every time I go to Taiwan, I enjoy it so much. Anyway, that's another story, another chapter. Cheers again.
Yeah, thank you. I'll give you one more hug.
Good one. Good.
Thank you, David.
Stay good.
I'll see you soon.
See you later.
Yeah. Wow. So, what an experience. I've never had a conversation quite like this before, with this dynamic, with such a nice playground to hang on and stretch on. And I find David very inspiring because coming from his background, so many unusual choices had to be made for him to arrive to where he is, choices that were not supported by the environment, not supported by the family, that required a real leap of faith. Wow, I can spend 1 year in the United States I'm going to dance school. This is what I want to do. I'm totally unprepared and unqualified, but I'm going, and I'm going to study dance. Only dance. Oh man, I wish I had the opportunity to travel back in time to make a documentary about that year of David's life. Because can you imagine just the struggle and the triumphs and the connections and the learnings, just like, yeah, my filmmaker mind is having a bit of a brain-gasm imagining what that would be like. And I feel that here on this island, this is another one of those scenarios where if I didn't do this now, I would look back 10, 20 years from now and go, why didn't I take more video? And why didn't I create a project? Sometimes my gut speaks up really, really, really strong, and it tells me, here's an opportunity, go. And almost always, I'm not the one who chose or created the circumstances for this environment to exist. Much more frequently, somebody else presents it to me, invites me to it, puts it on a platter in front of me and says, jump, now jump. And in this case, the manifestation energy partially was this coronavirus. Coronavirus said, I know you're planning to go to Kopangan, but no, you're not going to Kopangan. And I know that you were planning to go back to Los Angeles for Lucidity Festival, but no, that's canceled. And, also, there's opportunities, incredible opportunities to stay here and embark on all of the creative projects that you've been dreaming about and fantasizing about and thinking about for years. I'd love to make a video series about this. Wouldn't it be funny to make a video series about that? I'd really like to do this and that. And now I'm here and I'm surrounded by interesting people who have a shared vision for a healthy future, for our planet, for our species. And so we can create the content now. And quite legitimately, my biggest challenge, at least my greatest perceived challenge right now, is that as I record all this video, I have basically just a 4 terabyte hard drive, and it will hold all of it, but it's just one repository with no backup. My laptop is not big enough to handle it, and the internet here is not good enough to be using the cloud. So, yeah, there's a little bit of risk in that. And I'm okay too. If I lose all the video, it was still a beautiful process to record it. And it's helping inspire me to teach more and share more and do more. And you can expect that I'm going to treat these next 3 weeks as a playground full of opportunities. I will gather people around me and go to interesting locations, and then we will teach each other things. And if it so happens that I am the subject matter expert, I will be doing most of the instruction. And if it so happens that somebody else is the expert, I will become a student. And sometimes in my role as a student, I'll have an opportunity to share understandings or revelations that reveal different perspectives to the other students or even to the teacher. And when I'm in the teacher role, I really pray that the students will bring things to my attention that I haven't thought about so that we can examine them and explore and be in this laboratory together. So, something that I'm aware of that I was feeling a little bit guilty about earlier today when we went to play ping pong was my strong desire to teach the others how to play ping pong, because objectively I have been trained by skilled ping pong players how to play ping pong, and I am not good enough to really play at a competitive level, but I certainly understand the mechanics, the physiology, how to grip the paddle, where to position the feet, how to move around the ball. And I could bring a lot of this knowledge, but I could sense that my friends just wanted to play and have fun, and they didn't care about improving at that point in time. It was an activity, and so I didn't bring that energy to it at all. And when we went down to slackline, again, I am the most experienced of them at slacklining. I have been instructed by professional instructors how to do it. No, I'm not as good as those people are at doing it, nor have I practiced that much, but I certainly know the principles. And I know how to spot, so I can help them onto the line. And in that context, I did enter the role of assistant, instructor, helper, guide. And I love it. I love being in that role. And I look around on this island and I think of all the things that I've been taught how to do at various times in my life that I could teach other people how to do on this island. For example, we already have ping pong and we have dance. We have slacklining. We have dancing on the slackline. We can dance in the water, dance in the land. We can ride motorbikes around the island. We can paint each other's bodies. So right now I'm just making a list of all the things that are possible here, like on a single pass, because I know if I think about it harder, I'll come up with 100 more things. But the list of things that could be shared with others where I probably have more experience or have received more professional instruction in this specific field than anybody on the island. And this is just because of the way that I've lived my life and the unique opportunities that I've had. And yet, it comes with this constant feeling of, oh, I hope that they don't get tired of me being the teacher. I hope that they are still appreciative of this constant flow of information coming in, because I receive the feedback sometimes that it's too much and that it's time for me to just chill out. And I'm learning how to just go in the flow and be relaxed and be more comfortable with, I do my thing, you do your thing. I have my own opinions and judgments around how your thing might be done better, but I don't have to share it in this exact moment. So, yeah, it's been really interesting reflections. Ooh, I hear Katya. She's alive and awake. Ah. I think it's time to move on to the next thing. I hope this was an enjoyable experience for you listeners, and let's do it again soon. Ciao.